Happy Friday, everybody. Thank you for tuning in this afternoon. I'm joined by Leo from Cushwa. We'll get him on the stream in just a minute to talk to you all about what they're doing out there in Washington County. I'm very excited to hear some of the updates that they have about their new brewery space, their new tasting room. I had a chance to stop by a few weeks ago, and it's great. Can't say much more about it without taking away Leo's thunder, so I need him to be able to talk all about what they've got going on there. If you look down at the bottom of the display, we do have a thing scrolling by right now. If you feel up to it, the Brewers Association of Maryland would love your support. We do still have our contribution page set up from Sofa Sippin', and if you'd like to make a contribution, you're feeling like you're wanting to share a tip with the Brewers Association, feel free. PayPal.me/Sofa Sippin', and we would welcome any contributions that you're willing to make. That said, Maryland breweries are open. They still are open. This is great. You can go by, get your curbside pickup, carry out, delivery orders at many breweries throughout the state. Reach out to your favorite, see what they've got going on. Also, lots of tasting rooms are opening up with socially distanced practices and policies in place. So talk to your favorite brewery, find out what they're doing to keep you safe during this time, see about their outdoor seating, and have fun with Maryland beer this weekend. It's going to be lovely. There's a lot of great beer coming out. I'm seeing some wonderful releases happening. And I'm going to let Leo come in and talk to us all about Cushwa. Leo, thank you for joining us today.
Oh, thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
Oh, no, your microphone died.
Oh, did it?
All right, we're back.
All right, good now. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good.
Right. Okay. Well, everybody, welcome. Here at Cushwa, I am the smooth operations manager here. For some of you all who don't know much about us, we've been around for about 3.5 years now. We just transitioned into a new brewery and taproom space just directly behind our old one. Some of you in the stream might have stopped by and been able to check out the new spot. For those of you who haven't, can't wait to get you all in here. It looks amazing. Brew space is a big upgrade. So we went from a 3.5 barrel system to a 15 barrel system, in-house canning line. Some of you guys have probably seen some of our stuff out at your local beer stores, or maybe stopped by and gotten some cans through curbside. Currently, our hours, for those of you all who are looking to stop by, for the time being, we are Wednesday through Sunday. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we are 3 to 8. Saturday, we are 12 to 8. And then Sunday, we are 12 to 6. We do have curbside pickup available through our online site. You can follow links and it'll take you to a Toast online store where you can place in beer orders and merchandise orders. And we currently are allowing people in the tap room. We have a small outdoor patio as well. So put in some stuff, put in some orders, maybe come have a beer or two while you're hanging out. And then hopefully in the next week or two, Rad Pies will be up and running. You'll be able to get some nice, super delicious pizza that we can't wait for you all to try.
All right, Leo, talk to me about this expansion. Tell me what you guys did. What's new about this space compared to the other one? Where is it in proximity to the old tasting room and brewery? Give them all the info that's out there.
All right. So if you had been to our last place in Williamsport, we're still in the same industrial complex, just literally right behind us in the parking lot from where the old space was. The current building we're in now faces 81 directly. So if you're driving down 81 heading into West Virginia going south, you'll see us if you just peek off to the left there. We went from, so in our last space, it was a 3.5 barrel system. We're now at a 15 barrel system with 2 7 barrels for split batch stuff, 4 15s, and then 2 30s. So sizable leap in space to hopefully be able to supply everybody out there with some of our beer. Currently, it looks like maybe we need a little bit more space, so good problem to have. Like I said, we had the canning line now, so right now we're cranking out anywhere between 2 to 4 releases a week. not a shortage of cans at all. Steady cranking, pushing out as many new beers as possible, some of our old favorites, and getting a lot more wiggle room to try some new things, like the S'more series that I'll be showing off later. Just having some fun doing all that stuff.
You guys definitely seem to have embraced the kind of the openness of this particular space in this complex. I mean, it's so bright in there. The light is gorgeous. It's like you were on the wrong side of the complex to get any light in the old tasting room.
Yeah, the old tasting room, it's a little dark. There would be some times, like I work tap room once a week pouring beers, and you're just kind of like, all right, it's a little dark in here. And then now it's just vibrant. The space is really well done. The design team did an awesome job. Plus now we have TVs for sporting events and everything, which was something that kind of hurt us a little bit in the last spot. So there's 6 TVs for you to be able to watch whatever's on. And like you said, the lighting is really well done. Tons of cool like graphics on the wall. And then heading over towards the Rad Pies sign, Goodlow from Frederick did an awesome mural for Rad Pies, and it looks amazing. So a lot of cool things to see once you get in there. Definitely a big upgrade. Looks amazing.
Yeah, it's a really, really great engaging space with all that artwork. You guys have some really cool colors chosen from your palette, and I think you guys have done a great job. When we came through with our team from the Brewers Association, you were still doing the build-out phase. They were still doing some manufacturing in the brewery with some weld work and all that kind of stuff. But when I came by a couple of weeks ago and got to see it kind of finished up, man, it's a really, really beautiful place. So I'm looking forward to seeing big crowds in there once we can start having lots of people back together.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. Can't wait to have as many people as possible in there.
So in the last couple of years, I'm sure you guys have had to tell this story countless times, but for people who are viewing that may not know the story of Cushwa, what's the brand all about? What's the name all about? Let's talk a little bit about kind of that regionality and what that means to what you guys are doing there.
All right. So as far as the naming goes, a little bit down the road from us, there's the Cushwa River Basin. Also in Williamsport was Cushwa Brick Plant, which in our last spot, we featured some of that on our walls. So the name was just kind of something to tie into a local factor. And since all 3 owners, Garrett, Scott, Marcus, all from the local area, it was just a way to kind of like give back and like just to show that we wanted to do something here locally, try to make a cool spot for this area to have, bring some good beer to Washington County. Yeah, so those 3 started, met up through Untapped, then got into a little bit of a homebrew thing together. And then from there, just kind of decided to open a spot. And this is where we are now, 3.5 years later.
You don't hear about many business decisions made through meeting on Untapped, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah. Power of beer, bringing people together.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, if anybody out there is looking for an alternative to like Tinder or something for business, try Untapped. Maybe you can find somebody that you can connect with there.
Yeah.
And it's no swiping; it's all bottle caps. So you got to like that.
Yeah, it's just all caps and toasting people.
Check out my badges. So, what has the kind of philosophy behind Cushwa's beer been up to this point? And do you see it kind of expanding as you guys grow the business in this larger space?
So the whole thing has just been, we want to make stuff that we enjoy drinking and that everybody else enjoys drinking, and also just putting in the effort, like a huge detail towards quality. We wouldn't want to turn out anything that we think is subpar product or anything like that. So there's a huge focus on quality, and then just making sure we're putting out some of the best beers that we possibly can, constantly involving on process. We're always trying to make tweaks, trying to figure out the best way to do something, try to get the most flavor into a beer. And our new space is allowing us pretty much everything that we could have asked for. last phase of the system, there were some challenges that we were pushing through constantly, still able to turn out good beer, but we just always knew it could be that much better once we get to a new spot. And I feel like some of our beers that were staples in the other spot that we're brewing now have improved greatly. Tenuous Pond, which we're going to show later, we think this is the best iteration of this that it's ever been. So it's nice to be over here, and that's probably the focus going forward, is just seeing how much better we can make each of our beers.
That focus on quality is always reassuring. A lot of people may put the cart before the horse, and it's like, hey, we got to pay for this building that we're in, and we got to make sure we keep the lights on and keep our great team here. But I think, and I'm encouraged the more I talk to Maryland breweries, because that word quality comes up a lot more often now, I think, than it used to. I think that there is a really big concentrated effort across the board to ensure that the beer that Maryland brewers are producing, every one of those beers is exceptional and is meeting a target that you said yourself, that's always getting better, and that makes you happy knowing you put out the best beer you can.
Yeah, you never know when somebody's first experience is going to be with a certain beer from yours or anything like that. So we always want to make sure we're putting out what's the best possible product we can put out. So we hope that somebody's first sip of their first Cushwa beer is the best sip they could possibly have. That's
awesome. And not to change the subject from Cushwa, but it looks like your old location already has a new tenant, huh?
Yep. Homemade's moving in. Awesome guys. Steven, every encounter I've had with him, he seems like one of the most nice, genuine, just chill, down-to-earth people. It'll be good to have another brewery in our business park, give people added reason to come out. I mean, everybody loves to go on a brewery trip and be able to hit multiple spots within a close location. So that's going to be good. Can't wait for those guys to get up and running. And it seems like they're going to be doing some interesting stuff. So we're excited to have them here.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. I'm looking forward to seeing how you guys get creative about programming things together, because it's like it makes nothing but sense.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you've been talking a little bit about a couple of beers that have popped up. I know you guys you did a release this week of a beer that was a favorite for one of your retailers a while ago. Is that the first time? I guess you can talk about it when we get around to that one. I don't know how you want to start your order.
If we can start with that one, because it's probably the one I want to sip on the most during this podcast.
Okay.
So
get it out, man. Let's talk all about it.
All right. So beer number one we're going to talk about is Down to Clown. It's brewed in collaboration with Downtown Crown. I'm sure a good bit of our streamers have been there. If you haven't, it's an amazing beer store. Doing a lot to bring in as much good beer as they can from outside states, and then also doing their possible best to highlight and showcase everything that's going on in Maryland, everything that's good going on in Maryland. Those dudes are super awesome. We're happy to have been able to collab on this. I think this is the third time maybe that we've done it, and glad to finally have it in cans. So gonna crack it open.
Chris Sands from the Uncapped podcast and I were talking yesterday about this beer. Just kind of going back and forth. I saw the label work and we were chatting about it. And I thought that this was the first time he canned it. I wasn't sure, and he confirmed that for me.
Yeah. And then so as you can see, nice color on it, nice tight haze, good head retention from the pour. This one turned out super good, real juicy, approachable. We had been through a streak of just nonstop double IPAs here, so I was happy to have a single IPA during a canning run to be able to drink.
Well, you got to feed the people, man. While you sip that, I'm going to pop a question up from Jesse, and we'll address this. Jesse wants to know, being known for amazing IPAs, Jesse's personal opinion is that the English styles are the real stars. In your new location, do you see some new space in the tap selection for English style beer?
Well, currently we do have a Munich Dunkel in the tanks, which is the first time we've ever done that. that was something I was able to push for a little bit. I went through a little phase after a visit to Church Key where I was drinking nothing but Munich Dunkels, and I just kept saying, hey, we should brew one. Hey, we should brew one. Hey, we should brew one. Then when it came time for a lighter option looking to be put into a tank, it was just kind of like, hey, do you actually want to do this? And of course, I instantly agreed. So I'm excited for that one. Something new for us to venture into, and hopefully we do the style proud. As far as cask options, I don't know if that's something we're currently looking into. That might be a bit of a stretch, but we would love to do nothing but traditional styles and everything like that. And hopefully, as we add more space, that frees us up to be able to do some more of that. And then also to, once we get back to a normal state in life and outside of this semi-quarantine COVID era, that'll free us up to be able to do a little bit more stuff.
Yeah, Volker Stewart from the Brewer's Art and I had a conversation about cask conditioned beer a couple of weeks ago on Fermented Friday episode. Jesse, if you haven't seen that one, you might want to check that out. The demand for cask conditioned beer has really started to slow down tremendously.
Yeah.
Not that it was ever like the most popular thing in the Maryland beer world, but true enthusiasts really do dig it. But it's hard for them to make it to your brewery when you have it available because there's so many other great breweries to visit right now.
Yeah, it's a little niche, and just like all the extra setup involved into it and everything.
So much more care and consideration needs to be taken when doing cask conditioned beer.
Yeah.
Not that you can be loosey goosey with draft beer, but you don't have to let it like warm up to the proper temperature. You don't have to think about tapping routine and added sanitation and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I've just now started to slowly figure out draft systems since we've been in the new spot, hooking up the new draft system. So I don't want to try to add another thing into the mix to try to figure out right yet.
So what's the distribution footprint for Down to Clown look like? Is it just going down to DTC?
Yeah, so this beer is exclusive to Downtown Crown and then also to our tap room. So I do think potentially there's a little bit of it hitting Dominion in a week or so. Their sister store in Falls Church, but besides those two places and us, that's kind of where this one's limited to.
Very cool. Well, Dave and the team over there at Downtown Crown are great. I don't usually endorse a lot of people on here outside of the folks that we're talking to, but I've had a lot of luck at that location. They do great things for Maryland beer, and we have always appreciated their support of our members.
Yeah, they're crushing it, and like I can't give them enough praise for everything that they've done. I'm a frequent shopper there whenever I can get down that way. So,
well, cheers to them, and cheers to the awesome nod to them on your can. What's with all the crazy emojis on the faces of people?
I don't know specifics. So we've used all of our label designs through the same person, Sonia. She is really close to the brewery. She's turned out amazing label artwork. Is very responsive, usually gives us like a couple different style choices and everything. And each one's amazing. It's tough to pick a favorite when you have like 4 awesome labels to choose from. And she's slowly getting out into some more label stuff. She's doing labels for Imprint up in PA, doing their labels and slowly getting into more and more breweries.
Very cool. That label definitely doesn't look like many of the other Cushwa labels. So I'm glad it really provides you with a wide variety of styles to choose from.
Yeah, it's we go from a good range of everything here on our labels, it seems like.
You have to embrace it.
Yeah.
So did that just tap this week?
Yeah, we released it Wednesday, just canned on Monday. Yeah, canned on Monday.
Well, run out, get some of that delicious single New England IPA.
Yeah, get it while it's still super fresh and tasting awesome right now.
And like I told Leo earlier, I tried to set up my delivery pre-order, and the time didn't work out for me, so I'm going to have to set it up for some time over the weekend. What's wrong with the normal labels? Ted wants to know what's wrong with normal labels.
Well, it's always nice to have a good bit of flair. I mean, at this point too, we're in a market where people see labels, and that's sometimes the deciding factor to them purchasing a beer. Also too, it's just really cool artwork. I mean, I have labels strapped onto the back of my laptop right now. The Always Sunny label that we had, it was probably my favorite since I'm a big fan of the show, and that's maybe my favorite episode. So as soon as I got one, I was like, yeah, I'm going to have to stick that to the back of the laptop.
I've started decorating my recycling bin with label artwork from different Maryland breweries. It's like, they're these really great things, and if it helps me pick it out on a busy street, then I'm happy with that too. I liked the label you guys did with the White Rabbit collaboration, the Rick and Morty label. That was a good one.
Oh, yeah. That one was awesome.
But yeah, you guys have a great rotation of really cool looking artwork on your labels. And I think it's really cool that you're able to pick that variety up and not necessarily feel tied to one consistent look with maybe just minor changes in color.
Yeah. Yeah. It's good to have a little bit of fun, show a little bit of creativity, throw a little bit more of like our personality type and everything out there. So she's definitely doing a great job, and I get excited whenever we're getting close to canning day and labels come in so I can see what they look like. So
good stuff. Well, as you continue to sip on your Down to Clown, what other beers do you have to talk about? We've got a pretty good lineup today. I'll let you pop them up in any order you like.
All right. So next, just since we were talking about English styles, we're going to go to Tenuous Pawn, our brown ale. It's 6.6%. And then also today we did a coffee variant that just got put up online for release today. Small batch just because we pulled some off and then adjuncted it with coffee, which we use from River Bottom Roasters. We use their espresso blend. They're local to here in Hagerstown. Craig Campbell, he's doing a great job there roasting. And then also they're super community focused. So that was a good project to do with him, and it turned out great. I can't wait. Once this is done, I'm probably going to snag a 4-pack and enjoy my rest of the night with that.
Balance your nice bitter hop charge with a nice healthy brown ale, huh?
Fade it all out with some coffee.
There you go, man. How did you guys build that relationship with the local roaster? It seems to be the way that all coffee beers in Maryland are kind of presented now, is with a relationship through somebody locally who's roasting or is, known for being a great coffee house. How did you guys build that relationship?
I think it initially started out as a friendship, maybe before he started the roastery. I know at one point, I think he had considered applying here and working, and then after that decided to start the roastery. So just friendship through local community organizations, and I think just about every coffee beer we've done has been in collaboration with him. We've had a coffee event here right before everything started to kind of get shut down. One of our last taproom days was a pour over coffee event with them, and yeah, just kind of keep going back to the well with them. It's worked. They're our coffee supplier throughout the day. Plenty of River Bottom Roaster coffee gets drank here, so it's just kind of worked.
Well, you can't beat that.
Yeah.
If it's good, why change it?
Yep.
So you have that in 4-packs. Is the coffee variant's going to be Crowler and Growlers, or just Growler?
4-packs.
Oh, okay. So you do have a coffee variant in 4-packs also.
Yep.
Awesome.
Limited amount, but it is in 4-packs. I spent probably an hour and a half putting stickers on it to differentiate which one was the coffee and non-coffee. So everybody go out and buy some. I don't want my near frostbite experience to go in vain. So make sure you get a 4-pack this weekend, guys.
There you go. It's going to be the right weekend for it too. Looks like we've got some warm weather around the corner.
Yeah.
Good way to start a warm Sunday.
Yeah, nice warm Sunday with a nice coffee brown ale.
Yeah, there you go. Is the brown ale a style you guys would typically think to do other variants? Is that something you've done before, or was coffee just kind of a natural step forward?
So this is the first time we've done it with coffee. We just wanted to kind of experiment a little bit, and the non-adjuncted beer kind of just leads to that in general. There's some good like roast to it. We did take Tenuous Pawn, and maybe this helped lead into it. So we took Tenuous Pawn, a little bit of Rambo, and some of that River Bottom Roasters coffee and maple syrup, and barrel aged it. We had it called Dad Hat. It was just a special like one-off keg that we did that went over really, really well. So just kind of playing on that, but maybe not so much over the top version of it.
Very cool.
Yeah.
What's the next beer on the lineup?
All right. So we can move into double IPA, Big Kush with Citra.
Very nice.
So this is 8%. I'm sure some of you all have had our beer. Kush is our house IPA. We have Kush Junior, which we just released a couple weeks ago. It's a 4.2% hoppy table beer. And then we've stepped it up. 8% is the double version, Big Kush. We've done a lot of experimenting with it. It's normally Simcoe Mosaic, which is the 2-hop combo for the whole Kush series. With Big Kush, we'd like to play around a little bit. We have a couple triple dry hop versions. Our last version of it that we just released in cans was triple dry hop with Motueka, which was really good. Motueka really shined in that, so you got a good bit of that like lemon zest. We've done triple dry hop Big Kush with Citra in the last spot on our smaller system. So now we just brought Big Kush with Citra. It went over really well. We enjoyed how it did. The beer just leads great to have that extra hop come through and kind of showcase itself off a little bit. This one, huge juice characteristics. I mean, 8% kind of goes down a little too easy for 8%, but beer turned out awesome. Should be out in most of your all's beer stores if it's still hanging around.
Yeah, Citra is one of those hops that, kind of grabbed people 4 or 5 years ago, and it just won't go away.
Yeah, pretty much if Citra isn't in the beer, are you doing your IPAs right, I feel like?
Yeah, I mean, there's such a great fruity, like peachy pull from that hop that it's such a nice characteristic, especially for summer IPAs. I think that's a really great inclusion.
Yeah. This is really good summer crushable 8%, if that's a thing, beer.
Yeah, crushable 8%. Why not, man? You're a popular guy, Leo. Everybody who's coming in just wants to say hi.
What's up, Tyler?
So you also, not to take you off to beers that aren't included in the list today, but the Big Kush is like a sister beer or like a complementary beer to another brand in your portfolio, right?
It's the double version of Kush, yeah. It's like the escalated version.
Got it.
And we are, since we finally slowly kind of dipped our toes in the triple IPA water, a little fun spoiler for a little bit down the road. We're doing a triple IPA version of Big Kush here in the next couple months. So can't wait to get that in cans and just see how the beers progressed.
That's great. Sorry, I think you may have said that about the Big Kush deal. I had a car accident happen right outside my window, so I wanted to make sure everybody was okay. It appears that somebody may have run a red light and hit a police officer, so that's never good.
Yeah, that'll turn out well.
Yeah, bad way to start your weekend. I like Tyler's plan here. We call these the porch pounders. Tyler, you win for best term of the day. I like that.
Yeah, Big Kush, good 8% porch pounder. We'll go that.
We are not condoning your porch pounding habits, but if you need a beer to pound on the porch, I guess the Big Kush is the way to go.
Yep.
So with the Kush beer and the Big Kush, how do you guys see those beers living in the portfolio? Will they always be examples of straightforward kind of IPA styles? Are these beers that you will start to add variants to? Do you see adjuncts coming into these beers at all, or do you want to keep them how they are?
This might be, I mean, we've done a lot of different hop experimenting with it. I do think the base could potentially lead to maybe some sort of variant with adjuncting going into it. We've kind of stayed away from adjuncted IPAs. I think we have one fruited IPA in our whole portfolio. We did a peach double IPA sometime last summer. It went over well. Turned out well. There was a little bit of like bitterness from the peach, something to maybe go back and like revisit to see if we can hit fully what we want, since we've learned a little bit more on the process wise of how we should be doing some of those other things. So it would be good to revisit. Currently it's just changing. I mean, it started as Kush, then went to Big Kush, then we stepped down Kush Junior. Now it's looking to step all the way up and hit the triple. So
Jumbo Kush.
yeah, we're trying to toy around with names right now. Call it Bigger Kush.
There you go.
Kush, who knows?
I love it. All right. What else do we have on the list? You want to stick with another IPA?
Yeah, we'll stick IPA and then end with dessert.
Got it. I like the way you think, man.
Yeah, just a natural progression of things.
There you go.
So we're going to stick into the double IPA range. This is Tedium. It is 8% double IPA. Can artwork's really nice on this. I jokingly said that this was me on the can, and the story behind it will make it even better. So this beer was our one assistant brewer's second ever recipe created here. We brewed it twice in the last system. First time turned out really good. He was super proud of it. The reception was really good. And once we were planning out a schedule here, it was just like, all right, we got to get it on there and get it into cans. So since this is Brady's beer, I just like to say it was your beer, but I somehow ended up on the label. Funny little joke for him. And then this is, Falconer's Flight and Idaho 7, which me and him kind of worked on the hop combo. Like he worked on Grainbill, and then we were just sitting there one day after work. It was like, hey, what do you think would be interesting? And I was like, I don't know. I'm a big Falconers fan. And then he wanted to try to get like a really like dank kind of taste out of it. So it just kind of worked towards that. This one I would say is much different than our typical IPA profile. There's definitely more of that dank kind of grassiness that comes out into it. So
more of that earthy, grassy green hop character instead of the more juicy, fruity.
Yep. Yeah, it stays away.
Flight is a great hop, man. Delicious.
Yeah. Turned out really good. Excited for that one.
Ted and Tyler are fighting in the comments about who the beer is named after. So this is fun to watch. You guys keep it up. You're keeping me entertained.
If you want to pretend it was named after you, Ted, we could do that.
You heard it here first, buddy. So kind of tell me a little bit about how you're planning, what kind of flavor profiles you're bringing into these IPAs, because Cushwa is known for having quite a big portfolio of IPAs available. I mean, it's obviously a style that sells. You guys execute them very well. You're kind of known for bringing this style of IPA to the Maryland market, at least Western Maryland market.
Yeah.
Pretty early. How do you guys come up with a way to say we want to have this many of these beers that lean super juicy, we want to have these many beers that kind of fall in the middle, and then find a place for tedium? Is that something that's planned, or is that just something that happens naturally?
Well, usually we're trying to find just that juice that everybody wants. So where our beer maybe differs from like a good bit of what everybody's trying to achieve from that. We have a little bit more of a dryness in our finish. We don't necessarily hit that like overly sweet part of it. We're trying to make it juicy yet as balanced as possible. Try to get every sort of aspect on the beer to shine, like get that house yeast kind of like flowing through, make sure you can get the hop profile, like make sure the hops aren't hidden behind grain or anything like that. So the whole goal is to try to make something as balanced as possible, as easily drinking as possible, and then also still maintaining that juice that everybody's kind of out there like searching for, and just not going full-born sweetness.
Yeah, I think that cloying characteristic of some of these New England style IPAs, or whatever we want to call them nowadays, because I think that even that term has totally blown up into something completely different. I think that, there's definitely a place for it. A lot of people are drawn to that flavor profile, and it's making the IPA approachable for a lot of people who didn't like bitterness.
Yeah.
But the only problem that I tend to have drinking those beers is I can only have a couple before I'm like, man, I can't differentiate any of them anymore.
And, at a certain point, it all kind of runs in. There are a lot of beers just that I love like that, but it is something that you kind of get burnt out if you're having like a share. It's just like, all right. And then so we just want to make something as balanced as possible and as approachable as we can get it.
All right. I'm liking this conversation. Everybody's going to come in with one.
All right. So Electro Fruit, we won't rename to Tylarium. Ted already got the TDM beer, so that one's taken. Electro Fruit, we actually did just fruit one. We have that coming out, I think, in 2 weeks. Last one went over super well. That was the blackberry key lime. Turned out great. Good bit of key lime taste in it. Color on it poured awesome. Perfect for the summer. Next one, we're experimenting a little bit. I don't know where I decided to go this route. We're doing blueberry blood orange. So it's been trusted in me because they always joke that I'm the kettle sour person here. And I'm in tune with what people want with that, to where I'm picking out fruit combinations. And I just kind of was like, well, blueberry blood orange seems like it could be really good. I'm a little nervous for it. Both of them taste awesome. We'll see how it tastes together. Should be really good. But
did you eat some blood orange and pop some blueberries to see how that would work?
No, but I should have. I did, after the bags were dumped of puree, did a little dab of blueberry and then blood orange, and it tasted good. So yeah, it'll be a good balance, and I think it'll be great for summer. So
citrus and berry tartness, you can't beat that.
Yeah.
Before we move on to the last dessert beer that you have in there, when I was in there, you guys had a really interesting product on. You're not the only brewery doing this, but you guys had a hard seltzer called Cushwa. Is that what it is?
Yep. Cushwa. This one was peach.
Yeah, and actually that's the one that I had, and it was very good. I'm not generally a hard seltzer kind of guy, and I was impressed with what you guys had there. It was a very good product. It tasted great. What's the inspiration?
So around I want to say it was November, maybe beginning of November, during let me think of it. Precarious's beer festival that they put on every year. I went down, and it was me and Scott, one of the owners here. So we were down there, and I met Brad Mass from Heist in Charlotte, North Carolina, and we ended up just hanging out the day. Once we kicked, just kind of talked, started drinking together, partying a little bit, and it led to a conversation of us outside of the bottle share afterwards, talking about how we were going to start a seltzeria somewhere. We were just like, you know what, maybe we should get out of the beer game, get into the seltzer game, maybe a little bit more cloud in that, can live a little bit of a different lifestyle. So I came back and I was like, look, met these guys, super awesome. By the way, I might be jumping ship, finding a place to start up a seltzeria and running with that. And it was just kind of like, no, you can't do that. And I was like, I could probably do that. But so I think the concession to keep me here was to make a seltzer.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, did you start making all that big seltzer money?
Yeah. Once I'm rolling in the seltzer money.
There you go. There you go. And then you need some really cool like tagline or something that has to do with obeying rules and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Getting some good comments in here. It seems like we've got some fans of the Kush Claw. So that's also an interesting thing. What inspired the 32-ounce format? Because it looks like that's the only way that it's available, correct? Other than on draft?
Yeah, draft and crowler. So we did go through. We tried to can. The first one too. We did blackberry, raspberry to start. Had a little bit of a struggle while we were canning it. Go fast forward a little bit to Kush Claw Peach. Kind of ran into a similar issue, and instead of taking the losses that we did last time, just kind of pulled the plug and decided to put it out there in crowlers. We're all pretty new to canning here. Nobody here had any sort of canning experience. I had probably the strongest production background, but making vinyl siding and doing vinyl siding production is a little bit different than canning beer. So we've slowly gotten better at the process, and canning days are getting a little bit better as we go on. But so the reason for crowlers on that was just a format issue, just canning malfunctions, which was funny. Last time I was on a live stream was with Chris Sands and Roast House, and I had hyped up the Kush Claw release, and then we go in the morning, and turns out we struggled to can, so it became a crowler release. So I probably said one thing tonight about something coming up in the future that'll blow up in my face here in a little bit. So,
well, don't worry. People are going to go back or rewind. They're going to be like, look, we have him saying it right here. Video evidence. Jerry from Share a Pint is asking, blueberries like strawberries are high water content. How do you make sure that the blueberry flavor really shows through in a beer like that, especially when you have another strong flavor like blood orange?
So the ratio is higher on the blueberry to blood orange side. So it's a mix of ratio. And then also the puree from the blueberry has a pretty strong flavor profile for that blueberry taste. So it's a mix of just the puree and then also ratio.
So that puree is probably concentrated at weight.
Yeah.
So how is that working? You guys are it's a kettle sour base, and then you just add the purees in post fermentation, and
fruited kettle sour, pretty much what the market's doing.
Love it.
Yeah.
So what I gather from the Kush Claw conversation is that the 32-ounce format may not be the permanent format for that particular release.
We've started asking around, maybe have a little bit more information. We want to make sure when we go to do another one that we have it down pat and aren't struggling again with that. We also bought some new equipment to make sure like carb levels for that are going to be like spot on with what we truly want them to and everything. So hopefully we've learned a few more process techniques to be able to improve that and be able to get it into the format that we want. But I mean, I guess Mandy loves the massive can, so
the 32-ounce volume is not insurmountable for anybody who's interested in having some Kush Claw.
Yeah. At that point, it saves them a trip.
I enjoyed it in my daughter's kiddie pool on a very hot afternoon. So, all right. We've got about 15 minutes left until we normally wrap this up. You've got a wonderful beer to lead us out with. This is one that I'm excited about. This is also going to prove to the world that stouts are popular in summer. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, stout season is 24/7, 365. So don't let anybody tell you stout season isn't during the summer, because drinkable every time of year because they're delicious. So here is pudding, s'mores, imperial stout, 8%. For this iteration, we did a s'mores variant. So the first one we did was peanut butter banana. Went over really well, had a good banana taste. This time we decided to flip it up and do s'mores, which perfect summer dessert treat. So it kind of just went hand in hand. Do pudding, s'mores, it's summertime.
So big chocolate background, I'm guessing, and then you're looking at what for marshmallow and graham cracker characteristics? Is that all malt driven?
No, so adjuncted with marshmallow, and then we threw a bunch of graham crackers in the mash when we were brewing it. We went a little for full pastry on it. So this is supposed to be our entry into a pastry stout series.
Nice. I've had graham cracker extract before that was intended for use in beer, and it is out of this world, like the most over-the-top graham cracker you can imagine.
Yeah. Yeah, some of those go a little full bore, maybe too hardcore on a certain taste.
Yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with, the recommended dosages too are definitely not something that when you're walking by a guy's booth at a trade show and you're dipping your finger on the
little finger dabs of
it. Yeah. So pudding's available in 4-packs. Is that distributed or brewery only?
We did a small distribution of this. So Downtown Crown and then a few other retailers got it. Currently, I think we have sold out of 4-packs in the tap room. I think we maybe had like 1 or 2 left, and I'm sure by this point in the day, somebody saw them in the cooler and snagged those up. It is on draft right now, and once those 4-packs, if they did sell out, that'll be available for crowler pours.
So is that how you guys do that? You do 4-pack sales first. Once those deplete, then you turn on crowler?
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Tyler wanted to know if you guys intend to do tours of the brewery, and if so, will that be like while brewing is occurring, or is it going to be like during closed operation time?
Currently, we don't have any tour plans. I don't know if that's going to be something that we would ever even offer. Still kind of small, and if anybody comes into our new place, you'll be able to just see the whole brewing area anyway through the huge storefront that we have set up. So anybody who comes in, you can do a visual tour just while sitting there. Sorry, that's a little bit of a lazy answer from me, but I feel like I would be stuck doing tour guides. So
there are really a lot of things to consider with tours. I mean, these are manufacturing spaces. There are safety concerns, and with a brewery that's operating kind of at the clip that Cushwa is, you're looking at some real risk and liability having people in there while the brewery's operating.
Yeah.
And
Tyler slipping and falling and trying to sue us or filing a complaint or anything.
Yeah, Tyler, it sounds like there's a history here. Share a Pint is asking a great question. You guys are lined up with the Black is Beautiful collaboration. Can you tell us about why you guys are involved with that, and then also answer that question? When do you see your release coming?
All right. So it is something we wholeheartedly agree and stand with. We believe in equality. There's a section of people out there who are being marginalized, and anything that we can do to try to help give back to a certain community, we're going to sit there and do. In this industry, we kind of have a voice. It's a little silly to say craft breweries have a voice or anything like that, but when you have people watching, seeing what you do, checking social media platforms every day, it's kind of our responsibility to be able to sit there and stand up and speak out when we can. So it's great to be able to sit here and be a part of this. What Weathered Souls is doing is amazing. honestly excited to be a part of it. And then our version of it is coming out, I believe, Wednesday. I think we can it maybe Tuesday and then release Wednesday.
Very cool. For anybody out there who's not sure what Black is Beautiful is, this is a global collaboration started by Weathered Souls Brewing to raise awareness about the struggles of marginalized Black people in America. And they've got a great thing going on. They're making contributions from the breweries that are brewing their versions of this beer. Each one of them is donating to a nonprofit of their choice to help advance equality for everybody. So we're very honored that our members are thinking this way. We have 17 breweries and distilleries in the state of Maryland who are taking part in this collaboration. And Share a Pint just released their interview with Marcus from Weathered Souls today. So go check that out if you want to learn more about this awesome project. We really are looking forward to seeing each of these releases come out. Art asked a question relating to pricing. I'll let you address this one for you, but generally I'll offer some input about why a majority of Maryland beer seems expensive. The marketplace is arguably the most contentious that it's ever been. To release these beers, breweries have to consider releasing beers in smaller batch sizes to stay up with the frequency with which they're putting out new stuff. Labels have to be created for each one of these beers, and these are all small businesses operating on very small economies of scale compared to very large breweries. So they're paying more for the ingredients that it takes to make these great beers, and sometimes that has to come onto the person who's going to drink it.
Yeah, you answer that perfectly. So
it's like I've heard that question before. Yeah, and the market has been trending kind of up, but you see the package format moving. It used to be $10 for a 6-pack of 12-ounce bottles. Now,
yeah,
you're getting a little bit more beer. It's a different format. Unfortunately, there have been some global economic decisions made from our country that have put a big tax on aluminum cans. We're seeing the potential for that to happen again. So, it's one of those things that people need to be cognizant about when they're at the polling place. Figure out who you want that's going to support your ability to keep money in your pocket and support the businesses that you want to support. We always want people to be cognizant of what legislation is going to do to our industry. That's why we're here as the Brewers Association. And sometimes tough decisions that are made globally have their ramifications when they come back to home.
Yeah, and our goal, all we strive to do is make that $18 4-pack worth it for you guys. So we believe we're putting in something that is worthy of that, and would kind of hope that seems fine. And if we were putting out a substandard product, understandable, but the goal is just try to make it worth it for the consumer.
Well, Tyler's got a new revenue opportunity for you, so maybe you do this. Put a premium on everything and let them pick their own 4-packs.
We're trying to stay out of the whole mix and match. Luckily, we are able to go to distribute to enough bottle shops around the area and everything like that to where they offer in mix and match. So check in with your local bottle shops to get our beer, and then they can probably help you out with that avenue.
Art, we love how open-minded you are about this. If you need any guidance with what's going on with beer legislation, keep an eye out on what the Brewers Association of Maryland puts out. We do all the frontline advocacy for the state's breweries in Annapolis. We also work closely with the National Brewers Association to work with legislation that's going to benefit our brewery members with national laws and things that are taking place kind of wide sweeping. The big conversations this year have had to do with excise tax, not only for deferment of some of those things due to the COVID-19 crisis, but also trying to get excise tax easements put on small brewery businesses. They're paying a lot of money to make their products, and with the money that they've been able to have relief over the last few years, they've been able to make big investment in new breweries, new staff, better ingredients, new equipment. So it's all important. What else you got for me, man? Anything?
I mean, you just want to hang out, talk.
I mean, you want to shoot for the next 5 minutes? We can do that too. The only other thing that I have to say is pretty much business stuff. If you want to check out what the Brewers Association of Maryland is doing for the state's breweries, go to marylandbeer.org. I kicked it off at the beginning. We haven't done this in many of our other Fermented Friday chats, but the Brewers Association of Maryland not having our big Maryland Craft Beer Festival this year is definitely happy to see contributions continue to come in through fans of Maryland beer. And if you're willing to make any contribution, there's an opportunity to do so. We don't have our hand out, but we know that people are asking us how they can help. Across the bottom is a ticker, paypal.me/sofasippin'. Our members have been stepping up in huge ways. We had the Brew for BAM announcement come out today in our newsletter, where we're seeing members that are trying to make contributions every way they can. We've got members contributing to Black is Beautiful. We've had members contributing to different collaborations for All Together, what Other Half did to kind of give back to the hospitality business. And now in Maryland, we've got some breweries that are collaborating to give back to their association. This association is for our members. It's operated by our members, guided by them, and that's what it's all about. There is a huge contingent of people asking you to shotgun. I don't ever advocate for anybody to do anything they don't feel responsible to do, but you've either got some friends that have decided to come in here and make you look silly, or some people who are really interested in your ability to drink a beer.
So it is kind of a thing, I guess, that I'm a little notorious for, is shotgunning beers. We'll probably keep that off of this live stream. Maybe I'll carry it over later tonight into my own personal page or something like that. We'll keep it off of this though.
Are you in all about the chugs?
No, I'm not, but I've seen ridiculous stuff through them.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. It grew incredibly quickly, man. Like maybe the best thing to come out of quarantine.
Yeah. I was invited to join and I just didn't, but I had 30 days or whatever to see all the content, or 2 weeks to see all the content. And there's a lot of impressive feats of human willpower going on in there.
It's a great place just to see interesting people. And oddly enough, I've connected with 2 or 3 former coworkers through that page, way back in the day, working in different states completely. And all of a sudden you see them pop up doing a chug outside of their bar or something. It's like, oh, you guys are good people. This is fun.
Yeah.
Looks like the comments that are coming in are great. Thank you all for engaging with us this afternoon. We've had a really great time with you. I look forward to having you join us next Friday. We've got some really great stuff happening. Leo, it was great to chat with you. I'm glad you guys are doing so well out there, and that things timing was all right. Everything seemed to line up really well with the new brewery. That's not always the case. So congrats on getting those doors open.
Hey, thanks. Thank you for having me on here. It was great to be able to sit here and chat, and hopefully some of you all come in here and I see some of your faces. Everybody just come, stop by, support whoever's around you. Just find good beer, drink it.
That's right. #MD Beer. Get a hold of your favorite Maryland breweries this weekend. See how you can help support them. Everybody's open for carry out, curbside pickup, delivery. Some folks still have their tasting rooms closed, but they may have some outdoor space open. So just check in, see what everybody's up to. And if your favorite local brewery isn't making their business open to you right now, check them out in retailers. Everybody's trying to find a way to keep everyone else safe and make sure that we're still selling Maryland beer in the next couple of months. So keep it up. Y'all are wonderful, and we'll see you next week. Leo, be safe, brother.
Thanks, you too.